Hello everybody and welcome to Slay the Spire, now with Googly Eyes. We are playing as the Washer on Ascension 5. This is Act 3, and we're going to be facing the Time Eater, which is very scary because we are playing an infinite deck. In Act 1, we got a couple Rushdowns, Tantrum, Inner Peace, along with Violet Lotus. And then in Act 2, we got Master of Strategy, Scrawl, and the Cage. And I should point out that one of our Rushdowns is bottled. And between that and the two ways of entering Wrath and the Master of Strategy and Scrawl, we're usually pretty good at getting up now. Up to speed, that is. So yeah, the name of the game here is going to be thinning out our decks. We're still going to want to hit every store. Unfortunately, there's only 3, and only 2 of them path together. So unless we get those boots that let us jump, we have no choice but to come up through here. So let's get started. Should go pretty straightforward as long as I don't make any energy mistakes. Rush down, we're just going to exhaust all the cards that exhaust. There we go. With the entire deck in hand in both of these, then it's just a matter of making sure we don't mess anything up. We'll get the Crush Joints going. Eruption. And now we have energy to be saying Tantrum, Inner Peace, Eruption. I was looking at this off camera, and this is how we ramp up our output once we have vulnerable on all of the targets. Essence of Steel is the one that is least important to us. So that doesn't even matter. We're at full health because of the Pantograph and the fact that we're infinite. So at least we'll enter Time Eater fight in full health probably, because we're now at a point where we can pretty consistently go infinite turn 1. Alright, so we'll do this, and this just draws the whole deck. Which means we can Inner Peace, Crush Joints, Eruption. Inner Peace, Crush Joints, Eruption. Inner Peace, Crush Joints, Eruption. And now we can do Tantrum, Inner Peace, Eruption. Tantrum, Inner Peace, Eruption. There we go. One thing that's nice about this is the fact that every time we get a card option... Uh-oh. This is going to suck. We actually have to chew through 1,000 hit points here. But we did get Scrawl in the opening hand, so that's all we really need. If we can get Scrawl in the opening hand, everything else just works out. So I see Crush Joints is already live, which means we can Tantrum, Inner Peace, Eruption. Tantrum, Inner Peace, Eruption, and we're just going to do that over and over again. It is energy neutral. Thanks to the nunchucks, we do gain energy over time, so we could throw in a 4th card, but I don't really see the need to. Because the last thing I'd want to do is try to get fancy, speeding this up, by 5 seconds, and actually put the combo dead in the water, because we've already spent the miracle. So that's something I should consider, since the miracle and Scrawl and Master of Strategy exhaust, so we don't really have to throw out the miracle right away anymore, because as soon as Master of Strategy or Scrawl exhausts, then the miracle is no longer preventing us from drawing our entire deck in hand. Whoa. That, at least because of the nunchucks, we know that wouldn't have been disastrous. So I'm just trying to, like I said, avoid getting fancy. He's already got vulnerable, and this is the only turn of the game, or this match. So no point in trying to get fancy. kudos to the programmers for making it to where everything queues up like this. I can't remember the name, but one of the guys who was associated with Hearthstone, he went on to found a company called Second Dinner or something like that. Anyways, he had said that one of their biggest goals in designing the interface for Hearthstone is making it to where it could keep up with the player no matter what. Kind of like what we're seeing here. We're playing ahead of what the resolution, graphics, whatever can handle, but we're not breaking the game, and we as the players can see exactly what's happening and in full control. So I think that's impressive. Good job, Mega Crit. In fact, at this point, really my only critique of the game is one of the things that I found the most appealing about this game when I first found it is the whole perfect information. You know, there's no crit, there's no glancing blows. You can see all the buffs. You know, you have like all the information you need to make the best decisions possible. And yet, when you beat a boss, you have to choose the card reward before the artifact. And I understand why, because they code the artifact part as, you know, like a regular old treasure room. So it's easy to just tap into that. But I think we should be able to choose or see both. Kind of like how if you take Orrery, you can see all 5 card sets before you pull the trigger on any one of them. Flurry of Blows would be a 4th card, right? Because we're playing 3 cards, and since we have 2 rushdowns, we're drawing 4. So we could include the Flurry of Blows, but because we were facing Time Eater, the amount of speed we would gain from that I don't think is worth adding the card to the deck. Nemesis. Here's hoping we can get him going on turn 1. And there is the Scrawl, and since we 5, yep, we don't have to expend anything. We do got to make sure the rushdown's in play though. So Inner Peace, Crush Joints, Eruption, and then it's Tantrum, Inner Peace, Eruption, and Ad Infinitum. At least it doesn't have 1,000 hit points. Yeah, the relics that we're getting now, I'm just not even paying attention to. Like, yeah, the letter opener will chip in here and there, and that's nice, but... Spikies! Okay. I think the answer there is we do have the Ornamental Fan, and we also have Vigilance, which obviously isn't as kind energy-wise. Alright, so we have both. So let's Inner Peace, Crush Joints, Eruption, Inner Peace, Crush Joints, Eruption. I wasn't even thinking about the letter opener. Inner Peace, Crush Joints, Eruption. Now, finally, it sticks. He's way dead. Alright, so now we can Vigilance, Crush Joints, Eruption. And now we have a lot of... Oh, actually, we could just Vigilance, Eruption over and over again if we really had to. We didn't, but if we really had to, that's an option as far as... That's good, because... Come time for Time Eater, our 2 concerns is how do we ramp up our output and how do we ramp up our block, right? Because when it turns over, we're just going to be sitting there all naked like. Alright, so rush down, Eruption. Hey, there we go, Scrawl. So now we can One of these days I'm going to forget, and it's going to be totally my fault. Alright, so now we can... Yeah, Tantrum, Inner Peace, Eruption. There we go. We are in the groove. So I would take back what I was saying, I think maybe in Act 2, about how it's kind of tedious. It really isn't. I think the main thing is just to be careful not to be so lulled into a sense of infallibility that you actually foul, you know. I think Strength Potion's better than Draw. We do have 2 draws, and as of yet, it's looking like we don't need any. I suppose the deck size means it is possible to have the worst possible draw, and we can't get going on turn 1. Ceramic Fish. At a time when we're adding no cards to our deck, the Ceramic Fish is not very helpful. Haha, I laugh at your googly eyes. But mostly because I know that I will just be able to totally annihilate you. Ooh. Our first hiccup-ish. Wow, still no scroll. Alright, but now we have the whole deck in hand, so it doesn't even matter. We just make sure we put the rush down first. And we say Inner Peace, Crush Joints, Eruption, and then we can Tantrum, Inner Peace, Eruption. Oh, she's dead. Pair with googly eyes. Liquid Memories. Does not fit. I already talked about Flurry of Blows, so we're just not gonna even bother, because the only fight we have left for sure is Time Eater. And that would not work. Yes! Mental Fortress! Oh! Oh. And perfect timing, too, right when we're about to go down below 10 cards. What a relief that is. I was so wondering about Time Eater. And look at that, we have 2 fires, which will be Mental Fortress and finally Tantrum. What, do we have to really fight another transient? Alright, so this will be a test drive for the Mental Fortress, I guess. Scrawl puts our whole deck in to our hand. We'll do this. Mental Fortress, Inner Peace, Eruption is energy neutral, and then Inner Peace, Crush Joints, Eruption is energy neutral, at which point we can start doing our, right? Yeah, Tantrum, Inner Peace, Eruption. There we go. So yeah, this will be a test drive as to how much, now obviously against Time Eater we're not going to get as many cards, as many shifts going, but let's see how much armor we end up with at the end of this fight. Maybe I shouldn't have put the Mental Fortress in play this fight. It's just more animations to have to wait for. But it's fine. It's a nice little test run. Yeah, all these relics, while usually very powerful, are all superfluous here. Same with the potted, or the Happy Flower. Le Fleur Jolie. La Fleur Jolie. I don't know. It's been forever. When I was in high school, I was obsessed with languages. That's probably why I eventually got into programming too. But I was taking Spanish and French in high school while very roughly teaching myself German on the side just by using a dictionary. And it's not a direct translation, obviously there's syntax and things to consider, but with what I was learning from French and Spanish, that helped put things into perspective. It was actually interesting doing both at the same time, seeing some funny similarities and differences. Like gato is cat in Spanish, but cake in French, which those two things are nothing alike, hopefully. It was nice though. I had my best friend at the time. We were both in French and we were both committed to making the most of it. So we began trying to have as much of our conversations in French as possible, which was funny because we'd be sitting there in study hall and people around us were either totally oblivious or barely able to follow along. And it was weird because I was complimented on my diction, and then later in life I worked at this call center where there were a couple of Spanish speakers there too, and I tried my best to speak some Spanish with them wherever I could. And they too said that my diction was really good. And I didn't understand that because, like, when I heard people talk the language, I tried to emulate what they were saying, not trying to say the words from an English/American like perspective, if that makes sense. So it seems pretty obvious to me, but yeah, I hear like foreign people like speaking the language I'm familiar with a thick accent, and I don't get that because like all I did was imitate my French teacher. One of my French teachers was actually somebody who spent a good amount of time in France, and so her diction was flawless, and all I had to do was imitate her. All right, so it was nice that the transient gave us that opportunity to delve into my personal life a little bit there. I took Tantrum first in case this is a hallway fight. Gain 100 gold. To what end, I wonder? We are all spent. And there is the mental fortress. Okay, big bad time eater. Gotta be careful here. Might as well just drink this up front. And he is attacking turn 1. So there's one card. Scrawl puts everything in our hand. Rush down. Mental Fortress. Inner Peace. Crush Joints. Eruption. Now, I think what we want to do is just Vigilance, and we do got to keep in mind Tantrum is now stronger than 9, 10, 11, 12. Alright. And then if there's a turn he's not attacking, we won't have to use Vigilance, so we could use our third energy on Eruption. Oh, yeah. We have to reapply Crush Joints every turn. I kind of forgot about that. So, Crush Joints, Eruption, and now Inner Peace. Whoops. Tantrum. Tantrum, Eruption, or Inner Peace, Eruption. Okay. I had to get in my own groove here. It sucks we have such limited maneuverability space here. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. Piece of cake. We might just have lethal this turn. Alright. Have to play Eruption for Tantrum first, because we didn't get the... Oh, I totally forgot, because we're ending our turn, we're not going to have our whole hand. Okay. Interesting. At any rate, let's Inner Peace, Crush Joints. No, Tantrum's more powerful. So that's 4. We have a lot of energy, so we can actually Tantrum, Inner Peace, Eruption. Tantrum. Just game over. Nice. Piece of cake. Wow, my first run at an hour. That'll do it. I wasn't even trying to rush there. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I hope you really enjoyed the show. I'm sure you had lots of comments for me. I recorded it in advance, so I hope that's okay. But I always appreciate what you guys have to say. I do try and get back with you guys, and of course apply whatever it is to future runs. So thank you very much, and I will see you in the next time. Take care.